What's going on, everybody? Welcome to another episode of the Blindside Blitz. I am Jim McPhee, and there's my co-host, Mr. Joe DeCapita.
What's going on, everybody? Welcome back, Blitz Nation. And we are joined by a very special guest. You might know him. If you're familiar with this program, you've definitely seen him on here. He is the man that is a scout, former scout of the Atlanta Falcons, also still dabbles into the scouting realm, also helping out other prospects to transition towards the new level of football. It is Roderick David. We really appreciate you, my man. Thanks for coming back on the show.
Yeah, always great to be here. Always great to talk ball. It's a fun time of year. Super Bowl, free agency not far away, and the draft right behind that. So plenty going on in the football world.
Absolutely. And let's look at the Atlanta Falcons. I know you have a history with them and a lot of changes this season here at the end where Raheem Morris is out, GM's out, Matt Ryan steps in as the president of operations of football, president of football, and they go out and hire Kevin Stefanski. So a lot of different changes. So I want to see what your opinion is on the direction of the franchise and faith in Matt Ryan and Kevin Stefanski moving forward.
Yeah, again, you start at the top with Matt Ryan, and obviously a huge learning curve for him is a person, the guy that was around the Falcons, the leader, the quarterback of the team for so many years. I mean, you're talking about a really good person that wants the best for that franchise, which again, you want that now stepping into a role that he is completely unfamiliar with. No matter how much you've tried to educate yourself in the last year, sitting in the booth, being around the team, being around the building, there is going to be a lot new to him. Now, again, there are some really good business people, some really good, I don't know, vice presidents, EV, again, whatever it is around that Falcons organization, a number of good people that are going to have to really guide him. Again, Matt is, I think, going to make good decisions as good as he can. There's just going to be a ton new for him. So I think going out and getting either the GM or the head coach had to have some experience, obviously, because Kevin Stefanski has that. Again, but steps into a franchise that has a good bit to figure out. And then Ian Cunningham, again, he's been a guy that's been expected to be a GM for the last couple of years, has done a lot of interviews, well thought of, highly thought of, very smart, is going to get that front office. Really not even get that front office. There's a lot of really good scouts, a lot of really good people in that front office. And again, it's going to be about setting that direction. What does Kevin want on the field? What does he want on the roster? Let the scouts go and find it. And again, getting those two who I don't believe have a work history together. It's something I talk about all the time. Those guys have to get in lockstep really quickly, and it starts with the quarterback spot. Is Mike Penix the guy moving forward, or hey, is it going to be turn it around and try to rerun it in some way, shape, or form? Again, they've got a lot to figure out really quick here as they're jumping into February meetings, getting ready for the combine. So it is again, I think there are some good positive signs there. A lot yet to be seen, and I think we'll know a lot year one how well those guys get in lockstep.
Now, as far as the coaching too, I know a lot of fans. We have one of our followers that watches our other show as well. He was upset with the fact that they picked Kevin Stefanski, really high on Clint Kubiak. Now, do you are you on the same page with them and thinking maybe go with the coach that has experience and being a head coach already in the league, as opposed to waiting until now the Super Bowl is over to go out and get a coach who is an offensive coordinator but now coaching for his first time?
Yeah, again, you're in a tough spot there as an organization because the Falcons may have very well said, "Hey, Clint, we're willing to wait for you," and Clint said, "Hey, I think I may have greener grasses." Again, you never quite know
Yeah.
what goes on behind the scenes. Again, for that head coaching spot again, obviously we know Clint is an excellent offensive coordinator. He has put together a really good offense. He has gotten Sam Darnold again, taking that next step from Minnesota. But being a really good offensive or defensive coordinator is very different than being a good head coach. And it really comes down to that leadership, the communication, being able to get your staff right. Again, did Kevin Stefanski do that in Cleveland? He had a veteran in Jim Schwartz on the defensive side of the ball. Over on offense, man, it was a really, really mixed bag over the years, and obviously not a ton of success or wins to show for it. With Clint, again, it comes back to is he a leader? Is he a guy that's going to be able to have the hard conversations? Again, get the staff moving in the right direction. That is always the question. Again, every head coach, first time head coach, has that challenge of stepping in front of the team as the guy, being the ultimate, guy that has to answer those questions. Again, Clint has experience, obviously been around. His dad has been around a number of good ones, has seen Mike McDonald do it. And now he'll have his chance, what appears to be his chance in Vegas, and it's going to be, it's going to come down to it. So I can understand for Falcons fans the angst, because again, Stefanski did have a number of opportunities, twist a lot of, pushed a lot of buttons, and had multiple quarterbacks and couldn't quite win with any of them. So he's going to step into a situation where that quarterback may have a year with Penix before he decides to move on, and he's going to have a short track to prove it, I think.
Yeah, I mean, and it's interesting to see how the dynamic unfolds for Atlanta going forward. What does that mean? Just like you were talking about, like, what does it mean staff wise? What does it mean direction of the head coach? It's interesting too because for Stefanski, formerly of the Cleveland Browns, he had ample opportunity over there to get things right, and just whether it be right, wrong, indifferent, his time that he spent there couldn't ever get it changed around. Do you think that it gave in the interview process, because a lot of things happen that we don't know about, he must have blew away the Atlanta Falcons organization with his mentality and his direction for that team. You think that's what sold him on just going for Stefanski because he had experience and maybe some of the things that he was stating about their roster?
Yeah, again, obviously you say the right things. You have to assume he believes it. Again, you typically think a head coach is going to get two chances, and if Stefanski really presented it well and then took this job, again, you have to believe he believes in Mike Penix is the quarterback moving forward.
Mm,
Obviously, anybody is going to be able to say really good things about Bijan Robinson, that offensive. That's a really good group. They've got a really good
yeah,
defense. Again, similar to his situation in Cleveland, he was basically told, "Hey, this is going to be your defensive coordinator." And Jeff Ulbrich, he is a good one. Got to work with him. That's a
oh yeah,
talented deep. There's a lot of really good pieces on this Atlanta Falcons roster. The Again, it goes back to that difference. In Cleveland, you get to about 500, you're going to win Coach of the Year, and we saw him do it twice. In
right,
Atlanta, if
Yes.
he's
right.
500 for 2 straight years, he may find himself on the job line again, because again, that is not going to get it done. Again, Arthur Blank has shown that again it's not going to be we're not going to be patient, especially with a
Mhm,
veteran head coach and a young new GM. I think he'll get 2 years to prove he can do it. You better
mhm.
see turnaround this year, maybe even into next year. Get to 9 wins, be a wild card team. Otherwise, I think Ian will get the chance to go find his own head coach, and instead of being kind of paired with Stefanski in the way he was this year.
Yeah, we talk about talent. We've talked about talent on the roster for the Atlanta Falcons. Now, let's break it off and talk about talent that from East West Shrine Game, Senior Bowl has definitely concluded. We saw the practices leading up to those games, and there were some names that, gotta be honest with you, Roderick, I was a little unaware of, and then some that were a little familiar. We're going to start off right now. Got to get your input on these guys. I know it's still early in the process as well, but for right now, the kid from John Carroll was one that piqued my interest a little bit. Wide receiver Tyron Montgomery. What do you got to say about him?
Yeah, it's a fun group. It's always fun when these small school guys have actually been on your radar for a little bit, and scouts have known about this kid all year.
Oh, of course.
Again, not a real long football background. Again, that's one of those first things when you're getting it done at any level with the physical traits, and you don't have a long history of football, which this kid doesn't. It
Hmm.
gives you some upside. That developmental, again, he's still scratching the surface, and again, you saw him dominate his level of competition. John Carroll had an outstanding year, gets the call up and gets to go show. And again, that's something that you love about the Senior Bowl is you
Yeah.
don't get as many of them as you used to from Division threes and the smaller schools, but gets his chance. And the first thing that you want to see him as he heads down to the Senior Bowl is again just go look like you belong out there. And I thought he did that. Again, he didn't stand
Right.
out, he didn't blow anybody away, but I think he looked the part. He looked like he belonged out there against a bunch of guys that had played bigger school football. Again, obviously the who he is sounds like he's a great kid, hungry, wants to be good in the process. So again, checks a lot of those boxes. Again, he'll be one of those guys. Is 40. Again, you definitely want to see him run because
Mhm.
didn't have the greatest spring 40 time for wide receivers. So again, everybody's going to be paying close attention to that through the process. But he's going to have a lot of opportunities. One of these guys that the teams are going to want to bet on. I fully expect this guy to be kind of a day 3, probably 6th to 7th round guy that is going to be on the back end of the roster, try to make a spot on special teams and kind of
Yeah.
let his spot grow over these first couple of years. So again, did what he needed to do, looked the part, and now it's a fun process for him the next couple months.
Yeah, it's pretty cool to see these young athletes out there, and some guys like this kid Tyron from John Carroll, who proved that, hey, you know what? Maybe I do belong at the next level, and it will be even more satisfying whoever does in fact take this kid if he's able to up his game and fully develop into possibly a starter down the road. Would be nice to see, and that's what we will look forward to during the time leading up to the draft. Let's
Yep.
stay in the wide receiver category. And we'll go from the kid from Baylor, Josh Cameron.
Yeah, again, first thing that throws you off is that jersey number, right? Again, a bigger body, long, lanky wide receiver wearing, I think, what, 24,
Yeah.
34, something like that. Just, kind of throws you off a little bit. I think he's, an H or kind of a tight end running back getting out of the backfield. But again, good football player. Again, this is going to be a mixed bag. Where does a team see him playing? Is this an Antonio Gibson out of Memphis that's going to make a home in the backfield but be a good, reliable slot wide receiver? Is he
Mhm.
going to be a big slot? And don't see a ton of those kind of a la Mohamed Sanu that we had in Atlanta back in the day, Cincinnati, of course. Or again, do you just let him settle in and kind of move them all over? Again, I'm sure going to be a lot of Debo Samuel comparisons. This is just a lot bigger,
Right.
longer body type. But again, he's a good football player. This is, you somebody you're one on your 53, gives you some flexibility. Again, a guy that's going to kind of just do everything you ask him to, probably at a good level. Nothing really outstanding, but you put him in a bunch of different spots and he gives you some flexibility. And again, the offensive coordinator that stands on the table for this kid, probably goes, probably is a round or two higher drafted than a lot of teams have him. But again,
Mhm.
they'll tip their cap to him, be like, yeah, they've got a plan for him. And that's what it's going to come down for Josh.
Gotcha. Let's switch positions now. We'll go to tight end. We'll go from the kid from Oregon, who I've seen a little bit of film on him, and oh my god, the athletic ability is through the roof. Kenyon Sadiq. What are your thoughts on him?
Yeah, again, this becomes a fun prospect. He kind of goes back to that Kyle Pitts draft. Again, a guy that put him wherever and have some fun with him. Again, he's a different type of athlete than Brock Bowers, than who again, outstanding guy. Expecting another big jump for Bowers, getting healthy next year. But again, Sadiq is going to be a guy that you're talking with the way after your number one pick. Does this guy go 3, 4, 5 in there? And again, you're talking about a really highly drafted tight end that should step in and be a weapon for teams. Again, big catch radius, athletic, can run after the catch. Probably is going to be a guy that you move around a little bit. Again, just a ton
Mhm.
of upside. The athlete. Again, get him with the right quarterback, the right system, and man, this guy is going to be, maybe your leading wide receiver from the get go because he is talented. He's fun to watch. He's explosive, and he's going to be a lot of fun for somebody.
Yeah. Now, I mean, you say like this tight end is one of the next kind of up and coming guys. What's the chances that this guy could go like at top 15? Is he a top 15 pick, or do you don't think he'll make it that far?
Yeah, oh yeah. If he falls, I don't think he makes it past about 7 or 8. Again,
Okay,
the way the first round is going. Again, Fernando Mendoza is going number one. I think that is, I don't think anything
guaranteed
about
almost.
that from 2 until about 8. I
Hmm.
think any of those teams would be happy to move down if somebody called. But
Right.
at the end of the day, chances are at least 4 or 5 of those teams are going to have to make picks and okay, go get the best player on the board. For some teams, it may be Kenyon Sadiq. So I don't think he makes it. I think 5 is that number. Again, I think it's
Okay.
going to be 4, 5, or 6. I think Kenyon Sadiq is off the board.
Excellent. And here's a guy that like I'm kind of almost falling in love with this guy. I think for some people out there right now because it's so early, they might be paying too much attention about him. But DN Derek Moore from Michigan.
Yeah, big, nasty, physical, wants to run through your face type pass rusher. Again, he's one of those guys. You get your finesse rushers, your speed guys have really good arsenals, and then guys that are just get off the ball and run through your face. And this is Derek Moore. You saw some clips down there in one-on-ones. Like again, you better get your heels in the ground and get that anchor right, or this guy will run through you. And again, if you can do that, you're dictating a lot to that offensive tackle. And again, as soon as you sit down on him, hey, he does have enough flexibility and bend on the edge. He can throw a scissors, throw a chop, flip the hips, and get around you. So again, this is a guy that, for a Michigan team that was kind of up and down on both sides of the ball this year, this guy is a starting caliber edge. Again, probably not your number one, but you stick him at left defensive end opposite of Max Crosby, you'd be real happy about that. You stick him opposite your premier number one guy, you're going to wear a right tackle out, you're going to move him around, you're going to get him moving inside versus guards. Again, just a good football player, tough, physical, nasty, that's going to make life miserable for that offensive lineman in front of him.
As a Raiders fan, that's music to my ears. I would love him. Come on, Vegas, let's go get him. And last but not least, offensive lineman here, offensive tackle Demetrius Crownover from Texas A&M. Tell me your thoughts about him.
Yeah, massive human being, right? If there's one person that can stand there and just stop Derek Moore, it might be Demetrius, because this is just a massive human being. And again, they just, you walk on the field, this is a first off the bus type of guy. And again, there's going to be teams, again, one of those scheme fit type guys. Again, can he block for everybody and pass pro? Yeah, when you're that big and long, you're going to win a lot of battles. You're going to struggle to move a little bit. Again, the athleticism obviously doesn't jump off tape for this kid, but he is just so big and long. It is hard to get around him. It takes time. Again, a team like this is a classic Baltimore Ravens. Again, a Pittsburgh Steeler type right offensive tackle. Stick him in a cold weather team, a team that wants to run the ball and protect. Again, maybe you put him at right tackle for a left-handed quarterback if you need him. Again, this is just a guy. You don't love him as a scout. There's a lot that you want to be better at, but at the end of the day, if he's protecting on the right side, you're probably pretty happy with him.
Yeah, and that's the thing and we're not going to go any farther, everyone. Listen, if you want more information about these guys, I'm going to tell you, stay tuned. We'll have Roderick on shortly before the draft.
Yeah,
we kind of get into the flow of things of the draft, and then we'll kind of maybe pick apart some needs and wants and all that. But Roderick, really do appreciate you.
Hey, he's the founder of Right Step Advising, though. So plug the website. Where they got to go to get some more, Roderick?
Yeah. Again, my website, probably if you just want to know more about me, rsafootball.com. Again, my company is Right Step Advising, but check out the Scouting the League podcast. We're up everywhere podcasts are. I have that video portion on YouTube, Apple Podcasts. Again, Scouting the League, we're doing breakdowns, scouting reports, talking with assistant GMs, people from across the NFL. Again, I love it. Love what I do. Love talking ball.
All right. So now the stage is set.
I subscribe. That's all I know. I subscribe. I'm on there, guys. You guys got to get on there too. Because I'll tell you right now, the knowledge that's
how you learn, though.
Unparalleled.
I'm telling you, if you listen to a podcast like that, that's how you get that inside without being able to be an insider. Like that's how you do it. You know what I'm saying? So the stage is set right here. The Super Bowl, probably two of the most unlikely teams to make it here. I don't think anybody really guessed these two to be here, but Patriots back in the Super Bowl again. A lot of haters out there again, but Drake May, second year, but Mike Vrabel shows up, sets everything straight, and back to the Super Bowl now for him as a head coach. And on the other side of the ball, Sam Darnold, redemption story all the way. He just played, with the Minnesota Vikings, had an opportunity to be there again. They said no. So he goes to Seattle, fits in nicely, and look where we are, baby, right here at the Super Bowl. So it's exciting. I know we're going to talk about a little bit here and ask you some questions, but one thing I found interesting that I think perhaps they got to tap into this, but Gary Kubiak, father of Clint, you've got to think that they've been contacting him and asking him for advice. A guy that has been in 7 Super Bowls, 3 as a player, right? And 4 altogether as a coach, 1 winning it as a head coach and the other 3 winning it as a coordinator with the 49ers. So that type of experience being in that game, I'm sure he's got to be like, Dad, what kind of advice you got for me and for all these, for this matchup here?
Yeah, again, that the Super Bowl week is 2 weeks really
Mhm.
is so wild, and that's where Clint I fully expect to lean on Dad because again, when you have 2 weeks to prepare, it can become tough because there's a lot you want to do, but because of the way the Super Bowl schedule is, again, you're basically taking a day or two to get logistics done. You've got a media day, you've got a travel day. So really the week ends up fairly normally once you get down to your NFL host city. I think they're heading out to San Francisco. They'll probably be a little bit later arrival. You're not having to leave time zones. But again, how you prepare as an offensive coordinator is where I'd imagine Clint is really leaning on, whatever advice he gets. Obviously, that front office has been to a Super Bowl before. John Schneider, one of the best in the business, getting that team right. They probably have a pretty good schedule the way they want to operate. And again, it's really just trying to keep coaches, keep players, keep everybody in whatever way they can a routine because again there's still a football game to go and win and that's where on both sides of it you got Mike Vrabel who's been to a bunch of them, Josh McDaniels who's been to a number of them, and then again you've got John Schneider the front office and a few pieces there that had been to Super Bowl, so you've got some experience on both sides with a 2 week preparation, so that's really where you see it. Other than that, you're running what you've been running all year. You're trying to stick as close to what's gotten you here. And again, looking back at any of those matchups and dig deep there.
Yeah, I mean, and
Absolutely.
that's the thing too with this whole situation with Clint and how the reports are out there saying he's most likely taking a new job. He's going to be the head coach of Vegas Raiders, and the fan base has erupted as soon as they heard that. Seattle fans were losing their minds, saying, "Oh my God, he better pay attention to the Super Bowl." I don't respond that way to that whole thing. I have my other reservations. I think these coaches are completely dialed in. It doesn't matter if they take a day off to go do interviews. They're locked in because they want to win the Super Bowl. Roderick, do you concur?
Yeah, oh, absolutely. Again, I have no concerns, about Clint being ready for this thing. Again, anything that happens, on Super Bowl Sunday is not going to be, a result of Clint having a Zoom interview, having somebody show up at his house to talk football. Again, that's guys like Clint, guys that
Mhm.
know that this is going to be upcoming. Clint's probably known since probably quarter 3 of the season down the stretch. Like, yeah, his agents, hey, there's going to be teams reaching out to you. Again, you start doing your work in your spare half hour here and there as the season goes. That way, when you hit this time, again, a lot of your interview binder is ready to go, so to say. And again, the easiest thing to point at is your on-field results and hey, this is the way I view my team, my staff, and we'll get it together after I go win the Lombardi Trophy.
Yeah, now you got two teams coming down to the end, Patriots, Seattle Seahawks. In your opinion, Roderick, what are some of the advantages and disadvantages for both teams in this big time matchup?
Yeah, I mean this is one where again you talk about the some of the experience, the age again for the Patriots again. Obviously, Mike Vrabel, man, it's hard to take away the experience that what he has brought. He's been in it as a coach. He is an outstanding leader. Again, I can't say enough about Mike Vrabel. I learned my defensive line a lot from him when in at Ohio State in 2013, getting to work for him. But
Gotcha.
again, you see him pulling pages out of the Bill Belichick defensive playbook week after week. Outstanding job. So again, you certainly have to give that head coaching advantage. But over on the other side, you've got a Seahawks roster that I think is probably about a year ahead in the way it was built to where the Patriots are at now. Again, a little bit, more veteran quarterback, even though it's going to be a new experience for Sam Darnold, just slightly more experience. You've got an offensive line. It's been a little bit more together. You've got a few more veteran pieces that have been in the big games. You've got really a roster that, in my opinion, just about a year more mature when it comes to getting to the Super Bowl. So, again, I give that offensive line advantage to the Seahawks, quarterback slide advantage to the Seahawks, though Drake May's legs, I do believe, will show up in this game in a different way. You've got the Mike Vrabel, experience on the defensive side of the ball, and I think Sam is going to see a lot of new looks, and it's going to be a challenge for that side of the ball. But I think you've got two teams that are going to show up ready to go, low scoring game with the defensive minded head coaches looking to flex that defensive muscle.
Now, you brought up Sam Darnold. Like, will Sam Darnold continue his clean play for the Seattle Seahawks, or will the Patriots, which is a very good defense, everyone, force turnovers?
Yeah, again, it's going to come down to, you better be able to run the ball. Again, we are going to see a steady dose of the run game, I think, on both sides of the ball, but it is going to be so important for the Seahawks to not just be able to hand the ball off, but get a little run game going so they can get the boot game going, get Sam working in space, work the levels with Cooper,
Mhm.
Shaheed, and Jackson Smith and Jigba. Because, again, that is the thing that the Patriots have done all year, is create some very different looks like one thing and it shows up to be another. And that's where,
Right.
if you are the Seahawks, the turnover game is going to be huge. The Patriots have found a way to win, even though they have not been great on the turnover front. But again, the Seahawks, they've been fairly clean on that standpoint. They really raced
Mhm.
out to a big lead against San Francisco and never looked back. And against the Rams, they just found a way to hold on to it just a little bit longer. And that was the difference in that game.
Gotcha. Will the game be more of a rushing attack to set the tone, do you believe, or will it be decided by just flat out throwing the football all over the place?
No, it's going to be a run game. Again, I don't expect either of these quarterbacks. I think 33 attempts. If either quarterback gets over 33 attempts, either things have gone really poorly for you,
Mhm.
or it's completely unexpected for me. I expect a steady dose of run game. I expect some easy throws underneath. Try to get that boot game going. Again, we're going to see a lot of punts. I think in this one, we're going to see good defense, and I think both of these teams want to win in the second half. You've got just a defense that is going to make their halftime adjustments in New England versus Seattle, that's going to keep just being relentless in what they're bringing. And both teams, come late third quarter, early fourth quarter, are going to really like their chances if it's a close game.
Yeah, I mean, that's the thing is this game, I feel
Mhm,
like, in our opinion, I feel like this is going to be a close game, going to be a great
mhm,
game to watch, especially for the last game of the year. For the Seattle Seahawks, we know how great their defense is. We know that they've been the number one defense through the playoffs. They're very difficult to move the ball on and to score. Um, do you Can you see, like, the Seattle defense, like, are they going to go after Drake May as much as they did in previous games? And will Drake May's passing attack, will he be able to limit those mistakes against this very tough defense?
Yeah, I think we're going to see another game plan where we would rather take a sack. We just can't fumble it. We'd rather take a
Yeah.
sack than
mhm.
make a bad throw. Again, that's kind of been the MO for the Patriots these first couple of games, is just don't turn the ball over. We'd rather go second and 15, third and 18 after a couple sacks and punt the ball and let our defense play than try to force anything. I think they will try to get Drake May going really with his legs. Again,
Okay.
I'm expecting
Yeah,
10-ish rush attempts, true
yeah.
designed run plays for Drake May. I think that is going to be part of the game plan for New England. And I fully expect Seattle to make some adjustments, but it is going to be something new. And the Seahawks, I think, are going to be happy to rush four, maybe bring a fifth every once in a while. But I think this is a front four that can create some pressure. Again, it's just going to be about what coverage, who are you going to leave for Drake May, and can Drake make one or two plays in the run game that causes Coach McDonald to rethink the way he's going to try to keep him in the pocket and get after Drake May.
One thing's for sure, this Super Bowl, I feel like, is going to be one of the better ones to watch. Um That's all the questions I have for
Yeah.
Roderick. Jimmy, do you have any?
Yeah. Well, we have the one big one is who you think's going to come down at the end and win this thing, Roderick?
Man, I say it
It's
is
tough.
so hard for me again to pick against Mike Vrabel. Again, I think the world of him as a
Hmm.
coach, as a human being, is what he's done in that building. But I think just the 1 year of maturity more that Seattle has. Again, that is an outstanding front office. I think it is Sam Darnold being a little less rattled. Not that I don't think he gets a little rattled, sees a few ghosts in this one. I think he ultimately plays just a little bit better than Drake May, makes one or two more throws. I think Seattle edges this one out. I think it's going to come down to about a field goal. I think we are going to see some field goals, maybe less fourth downs in this one as well. I think a field goal is really going to be the difference in this one for the Seahawks. And I think they're going to come out, but it's going to be, man, it's going to come right down to it. And again, whether it's actually a game-winning field goal, it could be a defensive stand that prevents the Patriots from getting there for Borregales to try one. So I think the Seahawks and a slight edge get this one for me.
All right, there you go. There you have it.
Excellent.
Roderick, David, Right Step Advising, Scouting the Lead podcast, wherever you get your podcast. Check it out. Get all the info there. One last thing before we leave. I ask this of everybody, too, just because sometimes people have their own thing and what they do to watch the Super Bowl. You going to any parties? Are you doing anything at home? Do you just sit there and you have your war room going? Because I know how you get down, you know what I'm saying, especially around draft time. So what's your Super Bowl?
It will probably, if I had my choice, the game would be muted and I would be up getting food during every commercial. But, my wife, I'll have some family over. It'll be a small thing. So we'll unfortunately have to listen to broadcasters. We'll have to listen to the commercials. I will be tuning into something other than the actual halftime show. I can promise you that will not be tuned in. No Bad Bunny for me. Again, I'm sure there's going to be something else good on somewhere. So no halftime. I'll have to grit my teeth and just kind of bear having so many other people, because I am usually watching a game on mute by myself in some way, shape, or form, and the Super Bowl is no exception for this one.
I got one
Excellent.
more for you, Roderick. One
great.
bonus question. How many times do you think Chris Collinsworth talks about Patrick Mahomes?
Man, that's how many times is he shown? Is he going to be there? We'll probably get a full, analysis of the knee, how the rehab's going. Again, it's going to be at least a couple, and if only Mahomes was playing, everybody would be happy, right?
Right. Exactly right. Awesome. So thank you very much again, Roderick. It's always good talking to you. Yeah, good. Best of luck until we talk to you again. I know draft season is going to be coming up just as fast, so it'll be a couple of weeks. We'll probably be talking again. But thank you so much for joining us, and I hope to have you on soon, buddy.
Yep, absolutely. Always enjoy seeing you guys. Make sure you check out Scouting League podcast. If you're going to be at the combine, come find me, come see me. I'll be there for a couple of days. So looking forward to it.
Excellent.
All right.
Thanks, Roderick.
Bye.